All right, we're about to dive into a story that might just redraw the mental map you have for one of the world's biggest religions. It's a journey eastward. And you know what? It starts way earlier than you probably think. So quick question for you. When I say the word Christianity, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a giant Gothic cathedral in France, maybe St. Peter's in Rome, or even a megachurch somewhere in the American suburbs? For most of us, the imagery is just overwhelmingly Western. But what if I told you that's only like half the story? What if Christianity's history in Asia isn't some recent side note, but actually one of its oldest, most fascinating chapters? Well, that is the exact journey we are taking right now. To really get this, we have to rewind, way, way back. Because long before Christianity ever became Western, before it was the official religion of the Roman Empire, its missionaries were already heading east. Just look at this timeline. It is absolutely staggering. Tradition says the Apostle Thomas himself got to India in the 1st century. By the 3rd century, you've got solid established Christian communities in Persia. And get this, by the 7th century, a huge Christian monument, the Nestorian stele, was put up in China's capital. Think about that for a second. This was happening centuries before many parts of Northern Europe had even heard of Christianity. And we're not just talking about a few isolated believers here and there. No way. We're talking about entire, deep-rooted Christian traditions. The Thomas Christians in India? They're one of the oldest continuous Christian communities on the entire planet. And the Church of the East? You might know them as the Nestorians. They were this huge network stretching all the way from the Persian Gulf, across the Silk Road, and deep into China. So who were these Nestorians, exactly? Well, they were a major branch of Christianity that had some big theological disagreements with the powers that be in Rome and Constantinople. Because they often faced persecution in the Roman Empire, they pushed eastward, and they became unbelievably successful missionaries, planting the faith across huge parts of Asia. Okay, let's fast forward a bit to an era that's probably more familiar to most of us, the age of European colonialism. And this is where the story gets a lot more complicated. It's an era of explosive growth, yeah, but also a really complex and difficult legacy. And here's the real double-edged sword of this period. On one hand, European colonial power brought a massive wave of Catholic and Protestant missionaries, which led to incredible growth in places like the Philippines. But, and this is a huge but, it tied the faith directly to foreign and often oppressive colonial power. Suddenly, Christianity was seen as the religion of the conqueror. But something really fascinating was happening on the ground. The faith didn't just replace the local culture, it started to blend with it. This process is called syncretism, and it created these totally unique forms of Christianity that you just can't find anywhere else in the world, mixing in local rituals, art, and philosophical ideas. The faith was being adapted, and it was being made local. So that brings us to today, and honestly, the picture of Christianity in modern Asia is this incredibly diverse mosaic. On the same continent, Christianity can be everything from the dominant cultural force in a country to a tiny, sometimes persecuted minority group. For a perfect example, just look at the Philippines. At around 86% Christian, it is one of the largest Christian nations on Earth. And that's a direct legacy of over 300 years of Spanish colonial rule. Now, for a totally dramatic contrast, let's hop over to nearby Japan. Here, Christians make up only about 1.5% of the population. So why the enormous difference? It really all comes down to their histories. While the Philippines was under constant colonial rule that actively promoted Catholicism, Japan did the exact opposite. It slammed the door shut with a policy of radical isolation, banned Christianity, and brutally persecuted believers for centuries. This cemented faiths like Shinto and Buddhism as essential parts of its national identity. Two totally different historical paths, two completely different outcomes. And then you've got the really fascinating case of South Korea. Now, while half the population says they have no religion, look at that chart. Christians make up a huge slice of the religious pie. But here's the key. Unlike the Philippines, this growth wasn't driven by colonialism at all. It was a massive, homegrown indigenous movement in the 20th century, a completely different model for how the faith could expand. So all of this history brings us to our final and maybe most important point. We are right in the middle of a seismic shift in the world of Christianity. And you know what? Asia is at the absolute epicenter. Just let that number sink in for a minute. Over 350 million Christians. The continent that we so often think of as Buddhist or Hindu or Muslim is also home to one of the largest and fastest growing Christian populations on the entire planet. And if you want a visual to put that shift into perspective, check this out. While the exact numbers are tough to pin down, most experts estimate China's Christian population is somewhere around 100 million. Now compare that to France, a historic heartland of European Catholicism, which has less than half that number. The demographic center of Christianity is literally on the move. So, what are the big takeaways here? First, the global center of Christianity is shifting south and east. Second, Asian Christianity isn't one single thing. It's a vibrant, diverse mosaic. And maybe most importantly, a ton of this new growth is being driven by local indigenous movements, not foreign missionaries. This is shaping a faith that is both authentically Christian and authentically Asian. All of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. When you consider its ancient history, its incredibly complex present, and its explosive growth, you just have to ask, is Asia the future of Christianity? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for exploring this with us.